What does it take to become the next president of the United States? Apparently, it starts with suing Fox News for $787 million, trolling Donald Trump on social media, and showing up on Bill Maher to call out the biggest corruption scandal in modern American history. Gavin Newsom is running for president. He hasn't announced it. He doesn't have to. Every move he makes screams 2028, and whether you love him, hate him, or you're still making up your mind, one thing is absolutely undeniable. He is playing a different game than every other Democrat in the room. Today, we are breaking down his latest Bill Maher appearance, his Fox News lawsuit, and the one issue where I think Newsom is flat out wrong, and it matters more than almost anything else heading into the next election cycle. Buckle up, because this one goes deep. Before we get into the clips, let's quickly set the stage. Newsom is in the final stretch of his second term as California's governor. Term limits mean he's done. So, what do ambitious, charismatic, polarizing Democratic governors do when they can't run for governor again? They quietly, methodically, and very publicly lay the groundwork for a presidential run. And Newsom is doing exactly that. The Bill Maher interview covers a lot of ground. The very first question is actually about California's billionaire tax, which Newsom opposes at the state level. Now, before you lose your mind, hear him out. His argument is straightforward. If only certain states tax billionaires aggressively, you get capital flight. The ultra-wealthy simply relocate to states with friendlier tax laws. His solution? A nationwide, all 50 states billionaire tax, so the wealthy have nowhere to hide. Reasonable people can disagree on this, but that's his position, and it's at least a coherent... Now, let's talk about the Fox News lawsuit, because this is where Newsom shows exactly why he's different from most Democrats. He sued Fox News for $787 million in defamation damages. That number is not random. It's the exact same amount Fox was forced to pay Dominion Voting Systems back in 2023, the largest defamation settlement in American history, after Fox knowingly amplified Trump's lies about the 2020 election being stolen. Newsom chose that number deliberately. That's the knife twist. The lawsuit itself stems from a disputed phone call between Newsom and Trump. Fox ran what they thought were receipts proving Newsom lied about the call, except they had the wrong information entirely. They conflated two separate calls, ran the story anyway, accused Newsom of lying, and when confronted, Fox's Jesse Waters offered what can only be described as the most half-hearted, reluctant, almost apology in television history. Newsom said, "Not good enough." So here's where it gets interesting. Bill Maher, being Bill Maher, pushes back. He tells Newsom essentially, that sounds like something Trump would do, suing the media. And Newsom doesn't flinch. He says he's holding up a mirror to Donald Trump. He calls out the cosplaying as the Pope, the face on Mount Rushmore, the all-caps unhinged posts, the man-child behavior that has somehow become normalized because it's been happening for so long that people stopped noticing. And he makes the point that when he first started matching that energy, Fox News clutched their pearls and said it was unbecoming of a governor. The same Fox News whose leader has been doing this for a decade. Newsom is right about this. The double standard is staggering, and it needs to be called out relentlessly. And look, I'll be honest with you. I've met Newsom. I've interviewed him. The charisma is real. The intelligence is real. But my support in 2028 isn't guaranteed to anyone based on personality. It's based on pull. Let's get to the corruption segment, because Newsom absolutely delivers here, and it deserves to be heard clearly and loudly. He rattles off the list on Maher's show, and it is breathtaking. Golf course deals across 8 or 9 countries, meme coins, stable coins, World Liberty Financial, a crypto empire, a Middle East peace deal that seems designed to enrich Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, Donald Trump Jr. embedded in drone companies and mineral extraction companies. This isn't $60 Bibles and sneaker lines. This is systemic, industrial-scale corruption operating in plain sight, and it is the greatest grift any of us have ever witnessed in our lifetimes. Newsom is right to be unapologetic about naming it. Some of his weakest moments have come when he's been pressured to dial back his rhetoric or soften his tone. He shouldn't. The people running his social media, the ones crafting those sharp, pointed viral posts, they have exceptional judgment. Here's where I want to be completely transparent about where I stand. I don't have a fixed loyalty to Newsom or anyone else heading into 2028. What I need from any Democratic candidate is simple, but non-negotiable. I need ruthlessness, not just rhetorical ruthlessness, actual institutional ruthlessness. I need someone who will use the power the American people give them to pursue accountability aggressively and lawfully, and to change the systems that are rigged against ordinary people. And yes, that means going after corrupt Democrats too, not just Republicans. Merrick Garland spent years at the DOJ desperately trying not to look too political, and what did that restraint get us? I love Governor Andy Beshear of Kentucky, genuinely. But this moment calls for someone willing to fight at the level the situation demands. If a Democratic candidate tells me in 2028 that they are not going to pursue Trump's corruption, that they're going to let it go, that it's not worth the political cost. Now, here's where I have to push back hard on Newsom, and it comes from his interview with progressive commentator Brian Tyler Cohen. Brian pressed Newsom on Supreme Court expansion, and Newsom's answer was frustratingly evasive. So let me lay out why this issue is arguably the single most important structural question in American politics right now. Think about what it takes to pass meaningful legislation. You need the House, you need the Senate, you need the White House, you need to survive the filibuster, you need to withstand bipartisan pressure and internal defections. Biden did it better than almost anyone in a generation with decades of relationships and political capital, and he still had to water down nearly everything because of Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. So let's say the stars align. Democrats sweep in 2028. They pass landmark campaign finance reform, pushing back against Citizens United and dark money. Then what? Republicans challenge it. So what are the options at that point? A constitutional amendment. There have been 10,000 attempts to amend the United States Constitution across 250 years of history. We have 27 amendments. 27. The United States has the hardest constitution to amend of any democracy on the planet. It is not a viable path. It is a fantasy. The only practical, achievable solution is this: win the House, win the Senate, win the presidency, break the filibuster with a simple majority, change the federal statute that controls the size of the Supreme Court, and expand it from 9 to 13 justices, creating a functional majority that actually reflects the will of the electorate. Then, and only then, can you challenge and overturn Citizens United, overturn the presidential immunity ruling, restore the basic principle that no one, including a former president, is above the law. With all due respect to Governor Newsom, so here's the bottom line on Gavin Newsom heading into 2028. The rhetorical game is strong. The Fox News lawsuit is smart and advancing. The corruption calling out is necessary and powerful, and he does it better than almost anyone in the Democratic Party right now. But rhetoric without structural courage is just noise. The candidate who earns the nomination, and ultimately my support, has to be willing to go all the way. Not just to talk about fixing broken systems, but to actually fix them, even when it's politically uncomfortable, even when it polls badly in the short term, even when the establishment wrings its hands and says it's too risky. The window to make generational change is closing. The people are watching, and they are done being patient. Let me know exactly where you stand on all of this in the comments below, and if this breakdown was useful, hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss the next one.